felt sick to my stomach and was like sweating because I was thinking like
a truly self-sacrificing, incredible human being.
Yeah.
And then there is, in the textbooks,
reading history, I see similar patterns happening.
The average person in the US sees is like higher prices on things. And it makes it hard. It makes you question, like, should I love my country as much as I do?
Okay, so today I'm going to ask you about Japanese culture and stuff. First of all, thank you for your help today. So where are you from and what's your name?
So my name is Jonathan, and I'm from the United States, the state of New Jersey, so just outside of New York City.
Yeah.
And I'm James, also from the US, and I'm from Indiana, kind of in the middle of nowhere, surrounded by cornfields.
In the middle of nowhere.
Not a bad spot.
So, actually, we met. I met you here in Hiroshima Memorial Park. So you've been to Hiroshima Memorial Peace Museum, right?
Yes.
Okay, so what is your first impression in there?
I think I described it to James with all of the people, the tourists and people visiting. It felt like a procession of people like walking through a funeral. It's very somber, and it's very enlightening about the horrors of the bomb.
Yeah.
We do learn about it in the US of like the bomb droppings and kind of what happened and the after effects and everything, but to see it at such scale was the first time here.
Yeah.
And this is actually my second time here in Hiroshima.
Hiroshima? Oh, really?
Yeah. And I actually walked out of the exhibit because I felt sick.
Oh, yeah.
It really reminded me of just how much war is hell and how much humans can hurt other humans.
Yeah.
Like I physically felt sick to my stomach and was like sweating because I was thinking like this is truly horrible. Yeah.
And I think what has been impactful since kind of leaving the museum, you know, the museum provides a lot of information and just imagery of like the stuff that was happening like right here, because the museum is where everything was, it's center to all of the destruction, the mayhem, the chaos. So like even now sitting here and like looking across the river, I'm remembering some of the images in the museum that showed people like packed on those stairs along the river, like trying to get into the water to cool down or soothe their burning flesh. And so just that additional effect of being able to walk out of the museum and then look at the surrounding area of like, all of what I just saw was happening right here, right around me. It's not like I'm off in the US at like a museum somewhere and I'm like, wow, that happened, but it happened way over there. It's a different feeling to be at the museum, walk out and be like, oh, it happened like right where I'm standing. Yeah.
It becomes real. You know, reading about something in a textbook or watching it on the news, you know, even if you see pictures of it, it's like, oh, you know, that is happening in a faraway land. It's not happening to me or someone that I know. But when you look around at a location that it happened, like you said, you know that someone standing right here would be gone. And, you know, their family member that lives in the next town would come looking for them. The only way they could identify them was their name tag. They couldn't even they couldn't even see their face. Like, and it does just really kind of personalize it, and I think helps to put myself included to put a lot of people into that kind of mindset of, oh wow, it's real.
And that, I think that was one thing that was interesting about the museum is the museum hits very hard on the tragedy and the destruction and the chaos and the rippling effects for decades afterwards. The increase in cancer rates, people falling ill. But then again, you step out from the museum, and I think one of the first things you see is the lush green park that's right next to it, and then you see the water of the river, and you see the green trees and plants that line both sides. You see people going about their daily lives. The city is alive, and it's very hopeful in that way. And I think what was interesting is the museum didn't talk about the hopeful side. The museum very much spoke about like how destructive and tragic it was. But then you, as someone who's visiting, leaves and you see the hope in front of you of even at its bleakest, when every building was leveled and people were missing, they were still able to build and reestablish and remake life and make beauty again, which was that's been a cool aspect to see from the museum. And I don't think you get that from the museum itself, but you get it from just being in the area of Hiroshima.
Well, and one thing that you had said, like at the beginning of the museum, was they had the big panoramic shot of the entire area destroyed, but in that shot there were still people, you know, there was someone pulling a cart, there was someone riding a bike. Even in that devastation, there was a bit of normalness that people were still trying to achieve.
I just wonder how American people land like atomic bomb in Hiroshima.
So it's more of a almost like a footnote in the end of the like World War II story, but then it's also kind of the opening to like the nuclear age. But also in the US, there's kind of a divide in terms of public opinion on, you know, whether we should have done that. There's a certain percent of the population that thinks, you know, yeah, they had it coming. And then I think there's a large percent that just really don't think about it because, it's history. A lot of people don't reflect on history. But then there's also another percent that say like, you know, it was incredibly destructive and unnecessary. And I think one thing that really kind of strikes me with how, you know, the end of the war is talked about is they always mention Hiroshima and Nagasaki, but they leave out other things like the firebombing of Tokyo, which, you know, it killed 1.5 to 2 times as many people and basically burnt down the whole city. And, you know, it kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier about these horrors happen all the time. It's just this one was so concentrated and so instantaneous and had the after effects of, you know, cancer, skin melting, things like that, that in my mind, it almost feels like it normalizes the other disasters that happen. You know, no one ever says, like, there's no debate about whether we should or should not have firebombed Tokyo, even though more people were killed.
The U.S. isn't really like a monolith. The education system in each state will vary on how in depth they go. So,
and their opinion on like foreign wars and how they actually go about, you know, my education.
Well, I was going to go into about New Jersey. So in New Jersey, we do learn pretty much every single year from, I want to say like 7th grade up to senior year in high school before we go to college. Time is dedicated purely to World War II. And usually the end of the war, so after Germany surrendered, there's like a chapter dedicated to, okay, now the focus is Japan. We do learn about like the fire bombings of Tokyo. We did learn about the effort that went into building the bombs. And then there is in the textbooks, we spend time on the discourse of like, well, why did we drop the bombs? Was it morally acceptable to have dropped the bombs? And so like, I remember, what was it? I think my second year in high school, my sophomore year, we spent like 2 weeks doing an exercise where half the class debated for the bomb and then the other half of the class debated against dropping the bomb.
Oh, really?
And so that kind of forced us to, one, think from the American perspective of, oh, well, we want to drop the bomb to save American lives and not like put boots on the ground or something. Or we're dropping the bomb so the Soviets don't get to Japan first. And because it feeds into the Cold War after that. But then the other half of the class is now talking about, well, the bombs were dropped on areas that were like largely civilian. So there is no justification for having dropped the bombs. Sure, there might have been like a military depot or like a military barracks, but there were bankers, there were teachers, there were children, students, mothers, fathers, all that sort of thing. And so that was part of the education system about like learning about the bombs and learning about the Japan part of World War II for us as well.
I didn't know that. Actually, I was surprised that American people know the how to say, like the huge bombing attack in Tokyo.
Well, so in Indiana, we didn't learn any of that.
Oh, really?
I really enjoy history, and I've learned a lot of history on my own.
That's why you know.
Yeah, Indiana's education system is a lot more conservative than New Jersey's, and they tend to more just praise U.S. actions and ignore any of the negatives. You know, we didn't have any debate. It was just, this is what happened. Now, I was in a like advanced history class where they did say, you know, there's people who disagree and there's people who agree, but like my friends who weren't in that class didn't have any exposure to that. And it was only one class 1 year, not like every year.
Yeah. So I guess the point is, some parts of the U.S. go very in depth, and then other parts of the U.S. don't really. Other parts of the U.S. try to avoid the more negative aspects and try to limit how far into detail they go. So it'll vary.
It really depends.
It really depends on like where you go to school, what state you're in, and then sometimes it even depends like what level in your own state you're learning at. So like we have AP and IB classes, but you have like your very basic classes in high school. Where we just call it history or something, and then you have AP history, which is more fast-paced to get more information in. And so even in the own school system, in the same state, you'll have a student who does learn all of those extra details and spends extra time on it, versus a student who took like a class just one step below and doesn't go into as much detail because they don't cram as much information into the school year. So there's a lot of variation.
Well, and one thing that just kind of reminded me of is, you know, talking to my girlfriend who's Japanese, some of the atrocities that the Japanese committed during World War II, she didn't know about at all. You know, she's from Nagano. She said it's a more rural area. Like, and that just made me think of how a lot of countries, especially in the more conservative areas, only talk about the good parts. You know, like in Indiana or Nagano, they say, you know, yes, the USA is the best, or yes, Japan is the best, and ignore any of the bad things. So then the people who are learning that history learn it from a very one-sided and skewed perspective.
Yeah, like just for clearly how things are taught in New Jersey are different from how things are taught in Indiana. How somebody lives in New York City will be very different from how somebody lives in the middle of nowhere in North Dakota. There's a lot of differences from state to state, from place to place in the United States.
One thing that I've learned from this museum is that the conflict between like big countries leads to the victims of a ton of just civilians. That is one thing I've learned from that museum. And what do you think about this?
Well, I'm actually glad you brought that up, because that was something I was thinking about. Is a lot of these major conflicts around the world are caused by people following leaders headlong into conflict and buying into this, you know, whether it's an idea of cultural superiority, racial superiority, you know, and they get caught up in that frenzy and they lose sight of the fact that, like you're saying, civilians get caught up in these things. And I think from the US perspective, all of these tragedies happen far away. You know, the only people from the US who get caught up in these things are the military members who sign up to fight. And, you know, I think it was the same thing with Japan in World War II, until obviously near the end, where it very quickly came back to the home islands. It was, you know, oh, the military, yeah, our soldiers are dying in a faraway land, but, you know, my mother, my grandmother, my son, I don't have to go out and identify their body in the street until it's on your doorstep. When large conflicts, or even smaller conflicts, start, people lose sense of their humanity, and they begin to view other humans as not human. You know, they don't realize that the leader they're following or the thing that they're supporting is causing someone else intense levels of pain and suffering.
World War II and I guess World War I were kind of the first wars that were considered total wars, where every aspect of the nation is devoted to seeing this war through in the hopes that you win. But like James here was saying, in the US, there is no perception of what war really is unless you're in the military.
Oh, really?
Because we don't see it. The war in Afghanistan, the war in Iraq, the war in Iran, in all these places, they're far away. The most the average person in the US sees is like higher prices on things from the war. And then videos, if you're keeping up with the news or you're like looking for videos. But other than that, you can live totally oblivious to what's happening if you're not like looking for it or aware of it. And so then that's another aspect of it. I think when history is taught, there's like a tendency to teach things as like isolated events that just kind of happened, when in reality, no, there was a whole long list of events that got us to the point that we are today. And like we're dealing with all of the consequences of what came before.
And reading history, I see similar patterns happening when you get these ultra-conservative nationalist people in charge. They tell their population, they say, you're superior to, you know, this country over there. Therefore, that gives you the right, or that gives us the right to kill them. you just see these patterns repeating time and time again.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, all of the stories end the same. Civilians die, and civilians suffer, people suffer, and that's it. That's what happens, you know.
Actually, previous person I've interviewed today said things like, human beings are strange beasts, she said. She meant like the, you know, in this museum as well, like there are so many people who try to, you know, save other people. But also, the people can do something really cruel to other people as well. So that's why human beings are really strange. Yeah.
Yeah, that like the other person you interviewed said,
Yeah.
that you'll see a mother or just a stranger risking life and limb to save someone they don't know or to help someone they don't know. This huge act of kindness and self-service and self-sacrifice. And then at the far other end of the spectrum, you'll have people committing atrocities that are genuine nightmares, genuine hell on earth. You kind of see both. That scene of immense human cruelty, the destruction of Hiroshima, the suffering of people, and then the upper limits of what it means to be like a truly self-sacrificing, incredible human being, all in one space.
Devote themselves to other lives.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah, and then you even have people who came from all parts of Japan to the city, giving up their own jobs to help people get back on their feet and to as best as they could.
Well, and I think the other aspect of that is you can have the same person commit an incredible act of cruelty and then risk their own life to save someone else. And it comes down to what they're taught. You know, if someone is taught that another person in a different place is inhuman or deserves to die, they might readily grab a rifle and kill them and feel good about it. But then at the same time, if a person that they're taught, you know, is one of them or is, you know, deserves to be helped, they'll turn right around after killing that other person and risk their own life to save someone else.
Oh.
And I think that's kind of the whole purpose of this museum, is to educate and to shed light on those aspects of humanity and what's happening, because if you don't, then there will be another Hiroshima, not specifically here, but somewhere else in the world.
And not necessarily with nuclear weapons.
Yeah, I think this museum is a step in the conclusion. The conclusion of these events stop happening. And you can't get there, though, without first teaching people, hey, this happened.
By the eternal flame says, that eternal flame will stay until all nuclear weapons are eliminated. Monuments like the Hiroshima Peace Museum will continue to be constructed, and each one, at least I hope, is a step towards never constructing another one ever again.
Actually, I've realized something. It's like those historical facts tend to be utilized, tend to be used by like government or by like political group, like in a bad way.
And I think what's even more terrifying is that a government doesn't even need to lie. They just need to omit. They need to exclude details. They need to, like James was saying, how in Indiana, the education system mainly focuses on the very good things that America has done, but kind of doesn't go into detail about the negative things. So then that creates people who are educated with the mindset of like, America has only done good things.
I wasn't taught about the atrocities my own country committed. I had to seek that out myself, and I had to seek out, and it sucks that people have to seek out learning about the bad things, because, seeking out that information's not fun.
Oh.
It's not, it doesn't give you a warm feeling in your chest. It makes you go, oh man, that sucks. We suck. Until we as a world come to terms with the fact that we have committed terrible things in the past, and it is okay to teach people about them, and to stop using that as a political tool to, say we're the greatest. Things like Hiroshima are just going to keep happening.
And like James was saying, a lot of the time you have to search it out for yourself. The political groups or the government, they won't teach you everything because it'll make what they're trying to do harder. But then some people, they don't, because most people, I think, in some way, shape, or form, they love their country. They love where they come from.
Yeah.
But then you start learning about these things, and it makes it hard. It makes you question, like, should I love my country as much as I do? And that can be a scary thing because, like, someone who identifies as American, learning American atrocities, they'll start thinking, well, is my identity bad? And that's a hard thing to grapple with. But it's important to grapple with that, because if you don't, then history just repeats itself. It's something I've thought about for some time, where there's like a difference between being like a patriot, which is someone who loves their country. But there's a difference between being a patriot and like being a nationalist. There's a difference between loving your country and then saying that your country is better than all the other ones. I'm saying like someone who's a patriot, they love their country, but they also recognize that it has its flaws. And that there are certain aspects of that country that might not be better than another country. Another country might do something better. A nationalist, though, would say, my country has no flaws. My country is perfect, and I love my country.
That is nationalism.
That is nationalism. And my country is better than all of the other countries and deserves to have all of these things because we are better than all of these other countries.
And they deserve to have the right to commit those atrocities. It's like, I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for Indiana. I'll always love it because that's where I was born, that's where I grew up. But that doesn't mean it's perfect. That doesn't mean you can't criticize it. And I actually have a very kind of real example of this. So, again, like I had said earlier, my parents are very, very much into that MAGA movement. And they can't even accept any criticism of Donald Trump. So last year, my girlfriend was stuck in Japan due to visa issues, and she has a full scholarship for a master's at Harvard. And that was potentially at risk. And I told my parents this, and I said, this is a direct result of immigration policies that Trump has put into place. And their response wasn't, oh, that sucks, or why is he doing this? Their response was, oh, I'm sure he has a good reason for it, and it'll all work out in the end. Like, they were so bought into that, there wasn't any room for anything bad.
If people believe in something strongly, they cannot focus on something else. Just this.
Tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision, exactly.
When they buy into that sense of like nationalism, it becomes part of who they are as a person. And when you think about who you are as a person, you don't want things to challenge that. Like, if there's a part of your identity, you don't want that to be wrong. It's extremely uncomfortable to recognize that, hey, this thing that is, part of my soul is rotten. Because as soon as you identify that, you begin to, have self-doubt, maybe self-hatred. And that is something that just kind of is hard to swallow.
We cannot get out of that comfort zone easily.
Right. Well, you have to leave your comfort zone to acknowledge that the things you believe are not completely true. This was a heavy conversation.
What is the strongest or just strong message from this memorial museum you felt? That is the last question.
I guess what I felt from this museum was, as James said many times, war is hell. Humanity is cruel, can be cruel.
Yeah.
But there's also great beauty and resilience in humanity.
I don't think I can put it better than that.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
And what's the name of your YouTube channel?
無職日本を救う。It's
Like and
hard to
subscribe.
say it.
Like and subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Oh, thank you.
He is a great interviewer, and
Thank you so much.
he's asked us some amazing questions. And I imagine all of your interviews are like this. So if you're someone out there who's watching this video, like his video, subscribe, support him, and help him keep making videos like this to share the opinions of others and just share the world with people who want to see it.
Yeah. There's so many new perspectives, actually. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Appreciate it. Thank you. ありがとうございました。
ありがとうございます。
ありがとうございます。バイバイ。バイバイ。